Yep. If your phone's dying,
You ready? Meeting of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders is hereby called to order. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Here.
Freeholder Johnson. Absent. Freeholder Jones.
Present.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Here.
Freeholder Pomares.
Here.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Here.
Freeholder Siebel. Absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Here. I'm going to ask that we please stand for our salute to the flag and ask that Freeholder Jones please lead us in the salute.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask that we please remain standing for a moment of silence, and that we ask if everyone could please keep Freeholder Siebel and her family, their thoughts and prayers on the loss of her husband and county employee Bert. Thank you. Recognizing Freeholder Johnson. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Mr. President, there are 3. Conference Boards meeting September the 12th, 2018, September the 26th, 2018, and October the 3rd, 2018.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to approve the transcripts?
Move it.
Moved by Vice President
Second.
Richardson, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson. Yes. Freeholder Jones.
yes.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel. Absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Okay, let's move to the public comment session on agenda items. Tonight's meeting is a combined conference board meeting, and we will vote on every item on the agenda. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any agenda item, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Agenda items.
Good evening. Adam Kramer, West Orange, New Jersey. I'd like to speak about your Ordinance J, the bonding of $115 million for the improvements in addition to this complex. I understand that there's a need, for space, but I just don't think the administration and the freeholders necessarily thought everything through on this, and I'd like for you to table and think this through again. In Essex County, we have substantial office space that is available throughout the suburbs, unleased. Office owners looking for tenants. I know this is court-related, but a lot of the back functions of the courts can be perhaps linked remotely by computer and done virtually off-site to some extent. This is a very expensive bond, and my main objection is cost. As you all know, Essex County is one of the most highly taxed counties in the state and nation. Your debt level is huge. I looked at the last budget. Approximately 1/7 or 1/6 or in between there is used for debt repayment. I just think it is ill-advised to continue bonding. I do give you credit. This board and this administration, compared to administrations of the past, has been more fiscally responsible, and I just want to make sure that this board doesn't go back to the bad old days of fiscal irresponsibility with this bond, and maybe thinks through a less expensive or other options so that we don't have to put another $115 million out there. I'd also like to remind the freeholders that in addition to the outstanding indebtedness of the county, your municipal county utility authority and the Economic Development Authority also have debt, which are not officially on the books, but really, in point of fact, are liabilities to the county. And so my objections to this is you really have to think it through and have some debate if we really want to do this, because our taxation level and our debt level is just way too high in this county. And I'd like to thank the freeholders for listening and hope you will reconsider, table this for further debate and thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any issue, please come to the microphone, state your name and affiliation for the record. Again, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Carrie Gordon, and I'm from Maplewood, New Jersey. Each week, as a new horror unfolds on the news, I wonder at what point it will cross the line for you. What has to happen for you to realize that profiting off of ICE detention makes you complicit with what is happening in our nation? Last week, I watched Trump mobilize troops to the border to protect it from people seeking asylum, which is their legal right. They are in fact seeking asylum precisely because of the effects of U.S. foreign policy. This all reeked of a racist political stunt for the elections. Speaking of elections, I received Joe DiVincenzo's political flyer in the mail that bragged about how he balanced the county budget and added $65 million in profits. How many would have still pressed the button to vote, knowing that he balances the budget off of ICE detention? I was told countless times to vote Democrat for harm reduction and to stop Trump. These entreaties seemed especially hollow when I see what Democrats in my very blue county are doing. More than a quarter of ICE arrests of immigrants living and working in communities across America took place in just 10 counties, of which Essex County was 7th. Essex County accounted for more than half of the community arrests that ICE conducted in New Jersey. Essex County also edged out Maricopa County, Arizona, where the former sheriff was accused of racial profiling and illegally detaining Latinos in traffic patrols targeting suspected undocumented immigrants. Half the arrests in Essex County involved people with no criminal record. The arrests involved immigrants who were picked up while going to work, shopping, attending court hearings, or at appointments with immigration officials at the ICE field office in Newark. Newark, which is supposed to be a sanctuary city. Governor Murphy campaigned on creating a stronger and fairer New Jersey and said he supported New Jersey becoming a sanctuary state. I'm told all the time to just vote Democrat and that Democrats will hold politicians accountable when they are in office. So here I am, and I'm wondering where is the accountability. So my official question for you tonight that I'd like an answer to is, will you as freeholders advocate for New Jersey becoming a sanctuary state? The governor of Illinois just signed the Trust Act, which officially bars cooperation between Illinois police departments and immigration officials. It is valid in all cases except where a federal judge has issued a warrant for an arrest. It will make Illinois more welcoming to immigrants and refugees. I hope New Jersey will be next. Please end your contract with ICE and stop profiting from immigrant detention. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mary Rizzo. I'm a resident of Newark, New Jersey, and I'm here again to ask that the county terminate its contract with ICE to hold immigrants in the Essex County Correctional Facility. And I'm actually here tonight to invite you to an event that may help you learn a little bit more about what it is actually like for immigrants who are detained at the county facility that you run. UU Faith Action New Jersey will hold a protest on Friday to protest the 15-month detention of Jorge Chahon on November 9th outside the Federal Immigration Court at 11:45 a.m. prior to Jorge's deportation hearing. Jorge Chahon is 29 and he lives in Somerset, New Jersey. He was 13 years old when he arrived in the U.S. from Guatemala. He made the dangerous journey here in order to join his parents. He has no criminal record. He works hard as a painter to support his wife Sharon, daughter Rachel, age 2, and Nathan, now 10 months old. At the time of Jorge's detention, Sharon was 5 months pregnant. She gave birth to his son and was forced to care for the newborn and toddler alone because her husband was detained at Essex County. Jorge has never spent time with his youngest child outside of visiting hours at the detention center. We've been waiting for so long, said Sharon Chahon, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Colombia. My baby's about to be 1 year old without his daddy. We just want him home. The waiting is killing us. Jorge is one of 17,000 dreamers in New Jersey, children and teens who were brought to the U.S. as minors, according to the American Immigration Council. He is also one of more than 2,000 people being held at any given time in detention facilities in New Jersey. About 500,000 undocumented immigrants currently live in New Jersey, and the number of arrests of immigrants with no criminal record, like Jorge, doubled in 2017, according to NJ.com. ICE officers are detaining hundreds of people across the state, often without warrants. These raids are taking place throughout towns and cities in New Jersey. Most immigrants in detention, as we have told you many times before tonight, most immigrants in detention have no criminal records or have only minor infractions. Immigrants in detention at New Jersey facilities, including the one that you run at Essex County Correctional Facility, are subject to, quote, harsh and inhumane conditions, according to a recent report by Human Rights First. That report found that detainees are treated as criminal prisoners and at some facilities have been denied medical care and served food with worms and maggots in it.
30 seconds.
So I invite you again to learn a little bit more about what it's actually like for the people who are detained at the facility that you run. So I hope that you will consider attending the protest held by UU Faith Action New Jersey on November 9th outside the Federal Immigration Court at 970 Broad Street in Newark at 11:45 a.m. And I hope that you will think carefully and hard about continuing this contract with ICE. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Whitney Strube. I'm from Newark. I'm here once again to ask you to break the contract with ICE. I want to add to Mary's comment, another detainee at Essex County Correctional Facility / Detention Center who I had mentioned before, Manny Othats, a 20-year-old Uruguayan who is also here on DACA, who is a 2016 graduate of Dover High School, who was caught with a joint, something I think many of us in this room have probably done in our lives as 20-year-old adolescents. He's been deported. He's in Uruguay now, a place he's only known up to the age of 4. You know, I can't imagine what that's like for him. I doubt you can either. This is just shameful. And, you know, to pick up on what Carrie had mentioned, not only is Essex County the 7th highest site of community ICE arrests in the nation, of the top 10, we are actually the 2nd per capita. We actually crunched the numbers. Only DeKalb County, Georgia, detains people at a higher rate within its community than Essex County. That's just shameful. I mean, you know, when we look at Japanese internment in the 1940s, nobody looks back at the counties in Utah and Arizona that built facilities and said, wow, they did great things for the Japanese Americans who were interned there. That is not how history has judged them, and that is not how history will judge us here in Essex County. And with the time I have remaining, I want to add that, again, I'm a registered Democrat. I was out canvassing for Tom Malinowski. I was in Hillsborough. I was in Summit, I was in Westfield, and he's not even somebody I like. My politics are far to the left of him, but I understood the importance of taking back the House. And that's why I was out there. I was saying things that made me very uncomfortable, emphasizing how much he worked with John McCain, because that's what sold in New Jersey 7th. And it worked, and I'm glad we took the House. But now we need to ask ourselves, who are we as Democrats? Are we just Republicans Junior? Or are we the sad, pathetic echo of the Republican Party? Is that how we're going to win? By showing how Republican we are? That's just not good enough. I mean, we have become Vichy Democrats. We're collaborating. That is literally what you are doing by contracting with ICE, which is just a criminal, racist Gestapo organization, and I think you know that. In fact, North Jersey Record reports on October 26th a quote from an ICE spokeswoman who says, the information that I just gave you, which comes from TRAC at Syracuse University, the Transactional Records Action Clearinghouse, ICE's spokeswoman says that information is not recorded in a statistically reportable manner. In other words, they are deliberately obfuscating because they don't want this information known because they're ashamed of it. And so the Syracuse University researchers have to file FOIA acts, they have to mine courthouses. This is not transparent data. Because ICE knows that we ought to be mortified by the terrorism they're waging against our communities, that you are complicit in, and that breaks my heart as a Democrat. So I urge you once again, please break this contract with ICE and set a precedent for this nation of actual resistance to Trump's agenda. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eric Munoz. Currently, I do live in Carteret, but I used to live in Elizabeth before. I'm not here to persuade you in regards to break a contract or not. You know, you have your own incomes to have, you have your own city to take care of. But I do want to inform you a little story of how ICE officers actually treat people when they actually go and entertain themselves and try to detain these people. Like the gentlemen and the ladies that have spoken before, this has already happened. You can talk to considerable people in New Brunswick. I've seen it personally happen myself, right off of French Street, next to the Walgreens. They come in, unannounced, literally make a whole pack of people run as if they're ants, and let them scatter. And you could just imagine big, bulky men with arms running around trying to catch people who are trying to make a living. The other question, and maybe you want to actually think about it, is this. Do you really believe that in that group, that all these day laborers are undocumented? There are about a couple of people who are Americans who are actually questioned about their citizenship. On top of that, the recourse that they use, just in regards to even vet us as Americans when we come into the United States, is racist. Your mayor is Muslim. I'm Muslim. And you will never find another mix like me probably ever again. Only because of what this administration has already done. The racism is rampant. Your officers practice it. Your administration practice it. Every single level of government is practicing it as of right now. All because you're entertaining something for a buck. Now, I don't know how powerful my actual words could be tonight. Maybe in the sympathy of your own heart, you can go back home and redirect these stories to other people just to see if I'm actually speaking the truth. Because I have no reason to lie to you. But the day that it happens to you, when you're coming back to America after a vacation or a religious institution, whatever it may be, and you start getting vetted by the officers who get trained to make sure that you're loyal to this country, then you'll realize the racism that's going on with this type of organization. There are other ways to vet people. There are other ways to actually make sure there was an easier process, or could be an easier process, to make people who come here asking for asylum, asking for opportunity, so that way they could become Americans. ICE does not do that. And by the way, I'm a college graduate of Kane. Most of these ICE officers, they barely make minimum
30 seconds.
of what they need to do to be an officer, period. Your officers are probably even trained better than they are. So with that being said, I urge you, investigate. Take time to see the rampant things that are going on with them, so that way you can make a firm decision on what you want to do with ICE within New Jersey itself. Because as of right now, the answer stands clear. They're not doing a good job. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record.
Good evening. My name is Yael Weber. I'm an Essex County resident. I'm here to once again ask you to end our county's contract with ICE. I thank you for listening to me. I know I've spoken with some of you individually, and I appreciate that you are here listening to what we have to say. We had an election yesterday, and I think that with where we are right now as a country, we need to each take responsibility for the things that are within our control. I think that anything that is not active resistance is at this point complicity. We've heard the the rhetoric around this supposed migrant caravan that's a danger, an invasion, and an infestation, and a danger to our national security. And I think most of us are horrified by that. I hope I'm not the only one here who thinks that that is a despicable way to talk about human beings who are seeking refuge. And the role that we as a county play by detaining immigrants for ICE, by having this facility here, by saying that we are going to incarcerate people who have not committed a crime, by saying that we're going to continue to incarcerate people who have served their time. It's playing into this. It's a time that we each need to stand up, and I hope that as a county we can do that and say that we are not going to collaborate. We are going to take a stand against immigrant detention and end our contract with ICE. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there's no one wishing to speak at this time. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions for introduction and first reading?
Mr. President, we have one. It's ordinance one, an ordinance requiring individuals and businesses awarded bids through the competitive contracting and public bidding process of and by the County of Essex for professional services and for the provisions of goods and non-professional services to advertise for job openings directly related to the contract awarded in one or more newspapers based in any municipality in Essex County or in online job placement services targeted at Essex County residents.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is an ordinance which has been proposed by Vice President Richardson and Freeholder Bauer. Freeholder Bauer, would you like to explain the ordinance? Or Vice President Richardson?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you very much, Mr. President. The idea for this really came from a number of meetings that we've had where, of course, we all observe the vendors who send representatives to our meetings to answer questions about their goods and services. And of course, one of the things that comes up is the aspirational goals for employment across various demographics that we all participate in. And it occurred to me at a meeting earlier this year that where Vice President Richardson was quizzing a particular vendor as to whether any person had been hired from Essex County. I don't even remember what the vendor was, and it doesn't make any difference because it's a general theme that some vendors make efforts and other vendors don't seem to make as much effort as they could. And so the idea was to try to attack that by requiring that the vendors that we award contracts to actually advertise for job openings that are directly related to the goods or services being supplied to the county in the county. And that's why it's targeted to newspapers that are based in a municipality. It could be a local paper, it could be, you know, a patch or something like that, something online that's free, or it could be in a paid classified ad like we all used to answer job ads. And also the one-stop career service that Essex County has sponsored itself. So the idea is very simple. It does not seem to contradict the local public contracts law. And it can be free. If it's not free, it's a de minimis requirement. The ordinance requires that it be advertised as on the, you know, in the bid package or the competitive contracting package, or as part of the purchasing portal, so that everyone will be aware of the requirement prior to submitting a bid. Of course, it would only apply to a vendor that's actually awarded a contract, and it only applies to the goods and services, any job opening that's directly related to the goods and services that are being provided to the county in that contract.
Thank you, Freeholder Bauer. Vice President Richardson?
Sure, and you know, all of you know this is one of my pet peeves, one of the things I always ask. You know, you have contractors who come here quite often. Some have been here long-term, 10, 20 years, getting millions of dollars in contracts, and never even think about hiring anyone from Essex County. So I'm glad my colleague thought to put this together so that we can start to really address that issue, because I think it's shameful for folks to do that and not even consider, you know, just continue to take the money out of Essex County. We don't have a problem with you making money in Essex County, but some of it should stay here, in my opinion. At least give someone an opportunity to work, you know, in your company or on a project or whatever it may be. So happy that this legislation, this ordinance is here, and I think it's a very, very good first step.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I may?
Yes.
I also want to point out, obviously, the decision whether a potential employee responding to an advertisement is qualified for the opening or not, and whether that potential employee is hired or not, is completely within the discretion of the management of the firm or individual receiving the contract. So it doesn't require anything other than the advertisement itself to create the opportunity for Essex County residents to actually apply for any job openings associated with the taxpayer dollars that we are awarding. And I think that in addition to all of your good questions and Freeholder Vice President Richardson's leading many of the questions, especially as I came on board, really I was astounded at how many millions of dollars, sometimes in even a single meeting, but certainly monthly, that's awarded. And I do think it's a testament to how well the county's run and the fiscal responsibility and so on and so forth. But let's open it up for job openings for our people.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio.
I'm glad that Freeholder Bauer put that on the record. I think it's clear that this ordinance is creating an opportunity. It's not trying to get into the business of the individual vendors, but it's just pushing them to create an opportunity for our residents.
Thank you. Mr. McInerney.
I have no questions.
Freeholders, any questions or comments? Freeholder Jones.
What Freeholder Miles has put together, and I concur with her. I just didn't know how to do it, but luckily we had an expert who were able to do what my sentiment has been, that we look in terms of the residents who support the county to get an opportunity to do some of the work. We didn't say they had to be experts, but at least there are something that they had set aside, not really set aside, is that if they apply, they would be equally acceptable of getting that job, as opposed to not because of the company is from New York, and so therefore they bring their, so it give Essex County citizens an opportunity to move forward. And thank you, Freeholder Bauer and Vice President Richardson.
Thank you, Freeholder Jones. Freeholders. Just a comment, and I agree wholeheartedly, Freeholder Jones. One, thank you, Freeholder Bauer and Vice President Richardson, for your work on this. Thank you to our council for your work, and to the administration. You know, the second point on the ordinance, actually number 2, particularly I think is a common sense approach to at least make sure when we give a contract that has additional jobs, that the one stop has to make sure that they are part of that process. So really, for me, this is a two-step process. It's another tool. It's one more tool to try to make sure that money that this county is spending is being spent, if at all possible, with Essex County companies, firms, and residents. And two, and if it's not, that those people are at least doing everything possible, if they have to hire additional people as part of the contract, to hire people that are coming through our program. So, something that probably seems like a, common sense thing to do. I think codifying it is a good thing, and, very hopeful. Again, we don't think this is going to solve every single issue, but, we're going to take, as a board, I think we're committed to keep taking steps and working with the administration to make sure that we are putting people within the county to work. Because you're right, if you're here year after year and week after week, the amount of money that is spent, and is spent very appropriately, no one's suggesting that it's not, but the amount of money that we spend, it's our obligation to try to, in my opinion, make sure that that money is being spent back on people within our own communities. Did Ms. McInerney, did I ask you for comment? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Freeholders, do I have a motion in a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer, second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Seabold. Absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have any ordinances or resolutions for listing purposes only?
Mr. President, we have none.
Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolution on second reading and public hearing tonight?
Mr. President, we have one. Ordinance number O-2018-00016, bond ordinance providing for the Hall of Records complex improvements by the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $115 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $115 million bonds or notes of the county for financing such appropriation.
Madam Clerk, Vice President Richardson, would you mind?
Mr. Coulter, please explain. Thank you, Mr. Vice President Richardson. This ordinance is for the improvements, the obligation of $115 million for improvements of various buildings and within the county at Hall of Records. It's also for the purchase of 321 University Avenue and construction of a parking deck and an additional building at 465 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Also today, by the local finance board, 5% down payment was waived.
Mr. Paulavecchio.
I don't have anything to add.
Mr. McInerney.
Yes, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, as was just stated by the administration, this is $115 million for capital improvements. The offset to which is going to generate approximately $5 million worth of annual debt service to the county. This is going to be offset by various savings that was delineated on the schedule that we all received from rents. The additional courts of the state of New Jersey are going to be housed in one of these buildings. There's going to be some other changes and leases that we no longer have to enter into. The timing of the $5 million in debt service and the $5 million of savings that will come from the addition of rents is not exactly, perfect. But nonetheless, we will receive enough over a period of time to cover the debts, I believe in about 4 years. The other issue to understand is that although this bond ordinance is for $115 million, we are not going to go out and sell $115 million worth of bonds right off the bat. We will take money down in the form of bond anticipation notes as it is needed during the construction period or during periods when we're acquiring the property that was stated by Mr. Coltree. And then at some point in time, when all of the money has been expended and under the umbrella of bond anticipation notes, then at that point in time, we will go out for long-term financing. So that's just a capsule version of what we've been through before. We've all been given the specifics of this before when we broke down the Freeholder group by the administration and the county executive. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Freeholders, questions or comments? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Open the public hearing.
Open the public hearing. Motion and a second.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Sewell, absent. Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill, absent. Freeholder Chair, Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
So moved.
So the public hearing on this ordinance is now open. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance? Hearing none, can I have the same mover and, state your name. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, freeholders, President and Vice President. Haven't been here in a while, and it was told to me through the spirit of what I do to come here tonight and speak on things that I feel that is happening.
Mr. Cowboy, this is specifically for this ordinance at this time. The public hearing on this bond ordinance is what we're talking about at this time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Do I have the same mover and second to close the public?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now I need a motion and a second to approve.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Sewell, absent. Freeholder Chair, Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Resolution number 2.
Solution number 1 is what's administration. Solution 2 is the state.
Okay, these are all the appointments, correct?
Yes. Here. Right here.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move to resolution. I understand resolution number 1 has been withdrawn by the administration. Let's move to resolution number 2, which is an advice and consent reappointment to the Essex County Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Questioning Advisory Board. This is I believe, a reappointment. We can read that into the record at a later time. Mr. Colchi, would you please explain the resolution?
This is a advice and consent for the reappointment of Henry Gotti to the Essex County Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Questioning Advisory Board. So is number 3, Mr. President, and number 4.
Very good. We'll read, yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll read resolutions number 3 and 4 into the record at a later time. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No comments on this.
Mr. McInerney?
No comments.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? So I have a motion and a second to take resolutions number 2 through 4.
I'll move.
Moved by Freeholder Jones.
Second.
Second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Resolutions number 5 and 6 are reappointments to the Environmental Commission. We'll read them into a record at a later time. Mr. Colchi?
Yes, number 5 is for Gary Russell to the Essex County Environmental Commission, and number 6 is Karina Vera Rosa Schaefer, also to the Environmental Commission, and the term will go in from 6/1/2021 for number 6, and number 5 is the same 6/1/2021, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Do I have a mover and a second?
So move.
Moved by Freeholder Mercado.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 7. Please read it, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 7, advice and consent nomination for the appointment of Nicole Williams, MBA, to the Essex County Recreation and Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board.
Mr. Colchi.
Mr. President, this is Nicole A. Williams. She has an MBA to the Essex County Recreation Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board, and the term will go from June 1st until June 1st, 2021.
Thank you. I see Ms. Williams is in the audience. Would she like to make an opening statement?
Good evening. I'm Nicole Williams, resident of Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Could you please speak into the mic?
Oh, sorry. Nicole Williams, resident of Bloomfield, New Jersey. I have an undergraduate degree in business from NYU, a master's in business from Texas A&M Commerce. I work in category management and strategic sourcing in the consumer products, industrial products industry. I'm active in my town. I'm also part of the county committee, and I'm grateful for the appointment.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Freeholders, any questions or comments?
Mr. President.
Freeholder Pomares.
Thank you, sir. I've had the pleasure of working with Ms. Williams on Parking Authority in Bloomfield many years ago, where she exemplified a high level of professionalism, ability to work, read the budgets, and it was a pretty complex project to, initiate that garage, which probably made me lose some of my hair. I'm glad she fared better than I. But she would be, in my estimation, an excellent addition to the board.
Thank you, Freeholder Pomares. Freeholders, questions or comments? Well, thank you, Ms. Williams, for being here tonight, and also for your willingness to volunteer and serve on the Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board. We know of many of us who've had the opportunity to either work with you or meet you in other capacities because of your community involvement, or couldn't think of a better choice to serve on the committee. So, Freeholders, any additional questions or comments? Do I have a mover and a second?
I'm happy to move, Mr.
Moved
President.
by Freeholder Palmaris.
Second.
Second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Moving to resolution number 8. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 8, Office of the Prosecutor, contract award to Frank's Truck Center under the Voluntary Cooperative Pricing Agreement, bid number 18-120, to provide 2 new 2018-2019 Chevrolet Tahoe LTZ or equivalent model with rear bench seating, amount not to exceed $112,072.
Mr. Coultry.
These are two, Mr. President, these are two vehicles purchased under cooperating pricing as we went out for bid earlier in the year. Each vehicle is $56,000. They are replacement vehicles for the prosecutor and the chief. The current vehicles will go back into the prosecutor's fleet. They are also being purchased with trust money. I believe it's forfeiture funds.
Very good. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. I think I asked this question during leadership. The existing vehicles go back into the fleet. We had a vehicle. We've had 2 separate vehicles that have been on the agenda over the last few meetings. So I just
Yes.
could you just clarify that again, Mr. Coultry?
What happens is, when we went out to bid, we opened the process. Previously, we purchased 2 vehicles for the Sheriff's Department. And when I particularly went out for bid, I allowed any other agency within the county to utilize this bid. So, in this particular case, the prosecutor's office is using this particular bid to buy additional vehicles.
Excellent.
Mr. President,
Mr. McInerney.
one of the points raised at the leadership meeting is whatever was being used by the sheriff's office now goes down a step to somebody else.
Correct.
And so those vehicles that are being replaced are still in use.
Okay. Excellent. That's Freeholder Jones.
Maybe it sounds silly. Why would the prosecutor office need that type of vehicle?
Mr. Coultry.
To my knowledge, through you, Mr. President, I think it's for executive protection, and I believe they carry additional armament.
It won't make sense, but that's okay. If you gave me an explanation, so I'll accept that.
Okay.
It still won't make sense.
Vice President Richard, did you have a? Okay. Freeholders, additional questions or comments? Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Palmaris,
I'll second.
second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Abstain.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent, and Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, moving to resolution number 9 through 13, which I believe are all the Division of Housing and Community Development. Let's start with resolution number 9.
Resolution number 9, a Department of Economic and Development Training and Employment Division of Housing and Community Development grant agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the 2018 Community Development Block Grant Program B-18-UC-34-0101, including matrix of sub-recipient agreements, amount not to exceed $5,192,314.
Okay, Mr. Coultry.
Mr. President, Craig Lombardi from the department is here to explain number 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Okay, let's start with number 9, please.
Okay, excuse me. This is to approve the funds for the CDBG program, which we use to support various activities throughout the county. At this time, we have submitted an annual plan with our proposals. HUD has approved that annual plan. And at this stage, we're coming here to the freeholders to get your approval. And then we expect, given that the election is now over, we expect that the funds will be released by Congress so that we can start awarding some of these grants.
Okay, Mr. Palavecchio.
Just a question. Are these the funds that are given out to various municipalities within the county?
Some of the funds do go to municipalities, some go to service agencies.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. McInerney?
Most of the money goes to the towns.
Excuse me. Mr. McInerney?
Yeah, I think 18 of the municipalities are at least eligible for these grants, and they're listed in the back of the documentation. As was said, there's some agencies, countywide agencies, that also receive a decent amount of this $5.1 million. There is no matching on this either. It's all CDBG money.
If I may add, it's the 18 towns that are in our consortium. There's 4 other cities that qualify directly for CDBG funds, so therefore they don't participate in our program.
They are?
Newark, Bloomfield, East Orange, and Irvington.
Freeholders, additional questions or comments?
Mr. President, are we taking these together?
No, we'll take them individually. So we're on number 9.
Okay.
Any questions or comments on resolution number 9? Do you have a motion and a second? Moved by Freeholder Johnson, second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Jones?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado?
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder President Gill?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, moving to resolution number 10. Mr. Cole, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 10, Department of Economic Development, Training and Employment Division of Housing and Community Development Grant Agreement with United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for the 2018 Home Improvement Partnership Home Program, M-18-DC-34-0231. The amount, $1,184,280.
Okay. Mr. Coulter.
Mr. President, Mr. Lombardi is here to explain.
Mr. Lombardi.
The home program is a program that we use to develop affordable housing throughout the county, and that can involve new construction, rehabilitation, et cetera. And at this time, this would be for the current program year. That's the amount that HUD has calculated for the county that is available to us to make those kind of projects. And at this time, we're requesting approval so that we can start processing applications, and those are not necessarily awarded funds. Those are generally going to be loans that will develop either larger projects, such as, we have a couple projects now where we have, for example, 50 affordable units. It could also be for smaller projects. Some agencies provide services in homes for folks with disabilities, so it may just be to retrofit a home to make it accessible for persons with disabilities.
Okay. Mr. Palavecchio.
Yeah, Mr. Lombardi, the loans, in particular the smaller ones, are any of these loans forgivable loans, or are they all payable? Because I know there's some programs that have certain stipulations, such as if you remain in the home for 10 years, the loan is forgiven. I don't know if that's
exactly. There's various programs, but they're all targeted to make sure that whatever purpose the loan is being made to for that home, whatever services to provide, or the units that is providing at affordable rates, they're required to meet those obligations during a period of time. Now, for example, for a smaller project, let's say they are retrofitting a home, we may say, okay, for 10 to 15 years you need to provide that service, and if you do so, the loan would be forgiven. For the larger projects, they do have to repay the loan at some point in time.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McInerney.
These are basically the ones used for more social services type of programs. Do they stay on the books of the organization for an extended period of time until they meet the requirements, or do they and then come off, or are they always attached to the building?
Yeah, we have deed restrictions that are attached to the building, and there is a period of time that they're allowed to get the rents done, but that's, if they don't do it within a certain period of time, then we could call the loan. So everyone's motivated to try to get the project done quickly, try to get the units filled quickly. And again, with the smaller projects, that's usually not a problem. There's a wait list that, you know, for persons that need these kind of homes and whatnot. So that has not been an issue. But yeah, no, we have to hit the ground running, and then for the period of time, we periodically monitor the units, whether they be for social services or residential buildings. So,
Right, but that mortgage is encumbering that building until such point in time as whatever requirements were attached to the grant are actually satisfied.
Correct. I may have misunderstood your initial question, but that is correct. So, for example, if there was a 10-year restriction and they meet those obligations, then the restriction would be removed.
Do you require audits from
Yes.
an individual? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Do you have a mover and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Palmaris.
Second.
Second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel. Absent Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Present, not voting.
So moved.
Moving to resolution number 11. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 11, Department of Economic Development, Training and Employment, Division of Housing and Community Development, grant approval from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to operate the Essex County 2018 Emergency Solution Grant Program E-18-UC-34-0014.
Still in the lead chair, Mr. Coach?
I am still in the lead chair. Yes, Mr. President. Craig Lombardi is here to explain.
Again, this is the third facet of what our office does, and this is Emergency Solutions Grant, which is targeted to help folks who are homeless or to help them to avoid homelessness, also to help shelters out. And there's also a program for rapid rehousing. Someone may be residing in a shelter. If we can help them find a place to live, we can help support them getting, let's say, down payment on the rent and get them out of a bad situation into a situation where they can work themselves back to where they're not on the streets. So it's a multifaceted program. The main target is just to attack the problem of homelessness.
Okay, Mr. Palavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders.
We're against homelessness.
Have a mover and a second.
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel. Absent Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to resolution number 12, Madam Clerk. Please read it.
Resolution 12, Department of Economic Development, Training and Employment, Division of Housing and Community Development, extension of subgrant recipient agreements, Community Development Block Grant Program.
Okay, Mr. Coulter.
Mr. President, I am still at the helm as we speak. Mr. Lombardi will be here to explain.
I don't work on all these programs, so it's not just, there's more people than just me, but, okay, so this is for the extensions. We have various projects. The good news is that most, if not all these projects, well, all of them have been started, but most of them have been completed or nearly completed. We're asking for extensions primarily just to process some paperwork associated with processing vouchers. Our obligation is to make sure that whatever request for funding that comes to us, that all the paperwork is done correctly and that all the workers are paid based on the Davis-Bacon wage rate. So sometimes there's just a little delay in getting the paperwork processed, but we're actually excited lately. We've got a lot of projects that are coming to fruition, and we're getting some money out there. So it's been, but we still need that extension just to make sure that we get the paperwork done in time before the contract expires.
Very good. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
Yeah, no questions on it.
Freeholders, any questions or comments? Freeholders, do I have a mover and a second? Moved by Freeholder Johnson, second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 13.
Resolution 13, Department of Economic Development Training and Economic Division of Housing and Community Development, authorization for the Division of Housing and Community Development to reprogram home investment partnerships, program funds in the amount of $750,000 to fund a loan to White Rock Urban Renewal Associates, LP.
Mr. Colletti?
Mr. President, this particular resolution is for 11 affordable housing units, design home units in North Cornwall. And Mr. Lombardi is here to explain any additional, and it is a loan to White Rock Urban Renewal Association.
Mr. Lombardi?
Just to elaborate on that, yes. So we're looking for approval of a home loan of $750,000. It would be, will be allocated 11 home-assisted units, which means those are units that we are responsible for monitoring, and they would be maintained for at least 20 years as affordable units. However, this project also entails a total of 50 affordable housing units. And we're contributing part of the funds, and other funds are coming through the low-income housing tax credit program, as well as some other financing, paid financing.
Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
Yes, the issue, the White Rock Urban Renewal, that's a privately owned organization, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's a not-for-profit, but it is private.
It is a for-profit.
It is a for-profit. We have no information at all as to who the principals of White Rock are in the documentation.
The principals are the developer, which in this case is RPM, and they've done several home projects for us. And then they partner with the tax credit investors. If I just may briefly explain how this kind of project works. RPM as a developer applies to the state for tax credits. And if they're approved for those tax credits, they can then sell those to a private investor who's looking to get tax credits over a 10-year period.
If I might, I understand all that. What I was questioning is how come we don't have that information?
That I'm not sure.
I mean,
if I could just real quick. So the bottom line is this White Rock Urban Renewal Associates is an LLC that needs to be established so that the tax credit investor and the developer form a partnership. So they're the recipient of the loan, they're the owners of the property.
And again, the only thing I'm saying is that in this situation, it would be nice if we had, you have a for-profit entity here that's getting $750,000, and we have actually no information on who they are and who owns them. And so that would be a good thing in the future.
We can provide that information.
Vice President Richardson?
Yeah, we're going forward.
Yeah, I don't think we ought to move this right now. We need to get some answers as to who those folks are before we pass this, in my opinion. Because just blindly passing something, like Mr. McInerney says, for folks who we don't even know who they are, we have no information, does us, it does this board a disservice. So I don't think this ought to be passed tonight.
Mr. President, if I might, so I did not have that information. So I would have to be honest with you, with RPM, I'd have to recuse myself from making any comment on this. Because I do business with that developer. I happen to be their accountant, and I was not aware that that's who this was until he said it. And had I known that, I would have.
So we need to know who all the associates are. Are they the only ones involved in this?
Yes.
They're the developers.
So is,
yes.
So I-
so RPM is White Rock?
There is a partnership between White Rock and the tax credit investors.
So who are the tax credit investors? Who are they?
They usually can be somebody like a Wells Fargo bank or something along those
Mr.
lines.
McInerney, let's have this gentleman answer the question.
Yeah, often it's a syndicate, it's private investors, often it can be a bank. I can get that information to you. You know, they are, like I say, they're benefiting from the tax credits, they provide the funding for the part of the project, and RPM as a developer is responsible for executing the project.
Before we give anybody $750,000, we need to know who all the partners are, in my opinion.
If I could, again, I understand exactly what you're saying. RPM has demonstrated historically they've done some wonderful projects. So that's why we're confident this project's going to go. But I understand your question.
That's good for you, but I'm not so confident.
Right. And it's
You're
also
giving $750,000 to somebody who I don't even know who all the partners are.
Yes, sir.
RPM is one piece. You confident in them, but do you know the other players? And you don't. You said you didn't.
RPM is responsible for managing the project.
We need to know who everyone is. I think that's fair.
If I may, Mr. President?
Yes. Mr. Jackson.
We have no objection to bring this back to the next meeting.
Okay. Ms. Barlecchio.
Yes, so we'll just take a motion to adjourn it to whatever the next meeting date is.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn this to the next? I'm sorry, Freeholder Jones. I was going to make a motion to adjourn this to the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
28th.
Which would be Wednesday, the 28th, November 28th, 2018, 7 p.m. here in the Hall of Records. Making a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebo, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes, to bring it back on the 28th.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
And to the extent that we can pre-answer some of these questions, Madam Clerk, to follow up with the administration. So, thank you. Moving to resolution number 14, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 14, Department of Corrections Contract Award to TBS Network Intelligence to provide maintenance of the video arrangement systems, exercising 2-year contract for a contract extension option, amount not to exceed $72,000.
Mr. Coltree.
Mr. President, Director Ortiz is here to explain.
Thank you.
Good evening. Alfaro Ortiz, Director, Essex County Correctional Facility. I'm here to advocate for the passage of item number 14, which is to provide the upkeep and maintenance of our, what we call CJP, Central Judicial Processing, for arraignment of individuals that are incarcerated in our institution, where we don't have to transport them there, but by video conferencing, we can conduct the court's business. That's an advantage for everyone concerned. So we need obvious maintenance and upkeep on occasion on both sides, whether at the jail or at the courthouse itself.
Okay, Mr. Parlavecchio.
Yes, Mr. President, this contract was originally awarded in 2017 for 2 years, and it had a 2-year extension built into it, so this is simply the exercise of that option.
Very good. Mr. McInerney.
I have no questions, Mr. President.
Freeholders. Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Pomares, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel. Absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, moving to resolution number 15.
Resolution 15, Department of Corrections Contract Award to Sun Airbag, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder to furnish and deliver hanging locker clothing bags, November 13, 2018 through November 12, 2020, amount not to exceed $19,320.
Mr. President, Director Ortiz is here to explain.
It follows Al Ortiz, Director of County Corrections, that for those individuals coming to our charge and custody, we need to safeguard their properties and clothing in bags, much like a cleaners that they're hanging, and we can itemize and maintain their properties in a safe. But these bags take a substantial wear and tear, and obviously we have to replace them occasionally, so this is the time to do so.
Okay. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Just to say again, and I know this has nothing to do with kind of the specific need, but we passed an ordinance earlier about trying to find more folks who can do things within the county. There's companies from California. So it's for the record, you know, it boggles my mind sometimes. Do I have a mover in a second? Is that a motion? Freeholder Bauer?
Yes, I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer.
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebo, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving to resolution number 16.
Resolution 16, 2018, county budget insertion of items of revenue from the Department of Human Services Division of Family Development for the supportive assistance for individual and families, Department of Economic Development, Training and Employment, $656,607.
Okay, Mr. Coltry.
Mr. President, this is for intensive case management, outreach, and interagency management oversight for clients who possess severe barriers to employment and have received 60 months already of services. They'll then assist residents with acquiring vocational skills and employment skills, leading them towards a more economical self-sufficiency this program calls for.
Very good. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Ms. McInerney.
I have no question.
Freeholders. Questions? Do I have a mover?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer. Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 17, which has been withdrawn by the administration. Moving to resolution number 18.
Resolution 18, Department of Economic Development, Training and Employment, Division of Training and Employment, Contract Extension Award to Meadowlands Transportation Brokerage Corp., DBA Meadowlink, to provide transportation services for Essex County Wave Transportation Program, July 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, amount not to exceed $293,550.
Mr. Coltry.
Mr. President, this is for shuttle transportation for eligible welfare work recipients and transportation to one-stop program services for educational and vocational training. It's available at various times during the day.
Very good. Mr. Parlavecchio.
Mr. Coltry, what's the extension on this award? I saw in some of the materials this was awarded back in April, I thought, of this year. What is it being extended for? Or is it extended to for a different purpose or different use?
It's exercising an option, and it's an extension from July 1st, 2018 to the end of the year, which is 6 months.
And then it will be rebid or the contract?
Then we'll go into the additional year, a 2-year agreement.
Okay, so then the last award will kick in 2019. Okay.
Correct.
Got it. So this is extending the old agreement. The new agreement starts with the new year.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? I have a mover and a second.
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer. Second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to resolution number 19.
Resolution 19, Department of City Services, Division of Senior Services, approval of amendment to the 2018 Area Plan Matrix.
Ms. Coltree?
Mary Davis from the division is here to explain,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President.
If you squeeze the handle, the microphone will, right underneath.
Here?
No, just a little bit down. There you go. Squeeze that. There you go.
Okay, thank you for my short. Good evening. I'm Mary A. Davis, Deputy Director, Division of Senior Services. The approval of this request and amendments will enable our provider agencies to continue providing quality services to our elderly here in the county. The additional funds will enable them to address their waiting list for meals, home repairs, increased classes for evidence-based education and health promotion. Also, the funds will enable the provider agencies to prepare emergency meals for inclement weather in case there are vehicle breakdowns or we have to close the nutrition sites throughout the county. It also provides additional funds for those delicious meals, lunches that are served at our annual Senior Health and Wellness Day. Also, these funds will enable one of our provider agencies to replace one of the vehicles that transports the seniors to and from our nutrition site. These agencies that are listed here have proven records of providing efficient and effective services to our elderly here in the county and are able to provide the services for the remainder of this year without any interruptions.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Jones.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Going to move to resolution number 20, which is also an insertion of revenue. I'm going to ask that you read it into the record at a later time. Mr. Coltree?
Ms. Davis is here to explain, Mr. President.
Also, this is our final budget insertion for the year. And again, these funds will also allow us to continue to increase services to the seniors here in Essex County.
Very good. Freeholders? I'm sorry, Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Moved by Freeholder Jones. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 21. Please read it.
Resolution 21, Department of Citizen Services, Division of Family Assistance and Benefits, contract extension with Halsey Street Association Village Hotel to provide general assistance shelter services November 1st, 2018 through April 30th, 2019. Additional amount not to exceed $23,120.20, county share.
Mr. Coltree?
Mr. President, Keisha Burnett is here to explain.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening.
I'm Keisha Burnett, confidential assistant from the Division of Family Assistance and Benefits. The Essex County Department of Citizen Services, Division of Family Assistance and Benefits administers a program designed to provide temporary emergency shelter and related supportive services to families and individuals who are experiencing homelessness. These families and individuals receive benefits from federal and state programs, such as the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families known as TANF, General Assistance known as General GA, and Supplemental Social Security Income. The Division of Family Assistance and Benefits respectfully requests to enter into an extension agreement with the Village Hotel located at 65-67 Halsey Street in Newark, which is housing both men and women with temporary emergency shelter placement for customers receiving general assistance and/or SSI, Social Security Income. DFAB additionally, DFAB currently contracts for 18 units at a cost of $50 per day per unit. The amount will not exceed $23,120.20 county share. The Village Hotel agrees to an extension of our existing contract number 101-481-346-400, originally dated 11/1/2013 through 10/31/2018. The extension would commence for a 6-month period from 11/1/2018 to April 30th, 2019.
Okay, Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Question, Freeholder Jones, or motion? Move it. Moved by Freeholder Jones.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 22.
Resolution 22, Department of Citizen Services, Division of Family Assistance and Benefits, Amendment to Matrix of Contracts for Temporary Shelter Services, adding a contract with Apostles House for Temporary Shelter Services, October 31st, 2018 through October 31st, 2020, amount not to exceed $25,000, county share.
Mr. President, Ms. Burnett is here to explain.
Once again, the Division of Family Assistance and Benefits respectfully requests to add Apostle House Family Shelter located at 28-30 Grand Street in Newark, New Jersey, including 6 units for families seeking temporary emergency placement from the date of award of October 31st, 2018 until September 30th, 2020. The rate for each person would be $53 per person a day, with a contract amount not to exceed $500,000 and county share of $25,000. The amendment of the existing emergency shelter contract would add Apostle House 28-30 Grand Street, Newark. This shelter site was originally approved at the time of the original shelter bid, October 17, 2017, but renovations delayed their opening.
Got it. Okay. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions, Mr. President.
Freeholders? Motion? Moved by Freeholder Johnson.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Pomares. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 23.
Resolution 23, Department of Citizen Service, Division of Family Assistance and Benefits, contract award to W.B. Mason Company, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, to finish, deliver, and install steel shelving at the Essex County Record Center, 1-year agreement, amount not to exceed $15,000.
Mr. Goltry?
Mr. President, W.B. Mason representative is here, Phil Natel, along with Mr. Fusco from DFAB.
Good evening. Al Fusco, Project Manager for the Division of Family Assistance and Benefits. Division went out to bid to solicit bids for shelving, of which we received 3 bids, the lowest being W.B. Mason, lowest and responsive. This shelving is to be used in our records facility in Belleville, specifically to separate the case files from being commingled from child support with the rest of the division's cases. So a fenced-in area was erected approximately 6 months ago. and now we were asking for the shelving to be placed into the fenced-in area. We can maintain approximately 1,200 boxes of case files. Case files, it's a random number. It could be 10 to a box, 20 to a box. It's dependent on the size of the case. And again, it's to meet the state mandate of separating our records, child support records, from everything else.
Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Have a mover?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Pomeroy. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson, absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Moving to resolution number 24.
Resolution 24, 2018, County Budget, insertion of items of revenue from the New Jersey Council of the Arts for fiscal year 19 local arts program, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, $118,595.
Mr. President, Mr. Yates is here from the Department of Parks.
Joshua Yates, Essex County Parks. Good evening through you, Mr. President. Number 24 is a budget insertion for our fiscal year 2019 local arts program. This is the amount of money the county is going to receive, and then it's going to award that to the various applicants that had applied for the funding. We will be coming back to the board at a later date to go over who those grantees are and what the amounts are.
Thank you. Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Parlavecchio? Absent. Freeholders? So you'll be back with the actual organizations, groups, and allocations?
Correct. Yeah, the applications are in. They're being evaluated as we speak.
Okay.
Mr. President, if I may.
Sure. Freeholder Pomeroy?
Thank you. Mr. Zates, I think we spoke about this once, but these grant awards are usually what, in the range of about $2,500 to $5,000 on average?
Through you, Mr. President, it really depends on the amount of applicants we receive, and we try to give every applicant something, assuming they meet the guidelines and what have you.
Thank you very much. So it's an excellent program from my experience.
Thank you.
Freeholders? Agreed. Excellent program. Do you have a motion and a second?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder
Second.
Pomeroy, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 25.
Resolution 25, the 2018 county budget, insertion of items of revenue from the New Jersey Council of the Arts for general program support, summer concert series, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, $14,754.
Mr. President, Josh Yates is here to explain.
Joshua Yates, Essex County Parks. Number 25 is another budget insertion for a grant. This is for our summer concert series. Historically, that money obviously has been used with our annual summer concert series, and specifically, we usually use that to help fund the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra that plays over in Branchbrook Park.
Okay. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions on 25.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Do you have a mover?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Pomeroy, second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Vice President Siebel, absent. Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 26.
Resolution 26, 2018 county budget, insertion of items of revenue from the state of New Jersey for fiscal year 20 19, County History Partnership Program, Department of Parks, Recreation, Cultural Affairs, $23,180.
Okay, Mr. Coltry.
Mr. President, Mr. Zace is here to explain.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Number 26 is very similar to number 24 in that it's a grant amount that the state awards the county, and then the county then divvies that up among the applicants. Similar timeline for number 24 in that the applications have been received, we're evaluating them, and we expect to come back to the board shortly with those recommendations.
Okay, Ms. Pearl-Vecchio.
No questions.
Ms. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders.
Mr. President, for me.
Freeholder Palmaris.
In my other life outside of freeholding, I guess is the term, I'm very much in the arts and historic preservation, and I'm very much well aware of the fact that a good number of organizations have received this, and it's relatively speaking, it's a small amount of money, but it goes a long way for nonprofits. So I want to commend you on this program, and I'd love to ask my freeholder colleagues at some point for consideration to maybe increase this kind of funding, because in the scope of what we spend, it's tiny money, but it has great impact and value. Thank you, Mr. President, and I'd love to move it as well.
Thank you. Before we move it, are there any additional questions or comments? Moved by Freeholder Palmaris.
I'll second that.
Second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 27.
Resolution 27, 2018 County Budget, insertion of items of revenue from the State of New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for ADA accessible playground at Wassessing Park, Department of Recreation's Cultural Affairs, $4 million.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Coltry.
Mr. President, Mr. Zates is here to explain.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. Number 27 is a budget insertion of $4 million from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, which will be used for the ADA, or I should say all accessible playground that's being created over at Wassessing Park. It'll help fund both the playground and the support building.
Thank you. Mr. Pearl-Vecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
Has this grant been, you're saying it's for building as well as the playground itself?
Through you, Mr. President, that is correct.
And have we gone out for contracts on this yet, or?
I believe it's advertised, and we're waiting to receive the bids.
Okay. Is there any county money that's going to be used on this, or?
The $4 million will certainly go a long way towards the project. As you know, we don't like to discuss what we feel the cost estimate will be, just so that we receive the best possible bid. But we're optimistic that it'll greatly help. We're optimistic that it'll certainly lessen the county's portion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Freeholders.
Mr. President,
Freeholder Palmaris.
sorry, I'm on a roll here. I don't mean to keep away. What's an approximate timeline for this project, when, start to finish? Considering the bids.
Through you, Mr. President, I would have to refer to Public Works on that. I'm not.
Is it
really
a 19 project? Like spring of 19? Is that what we're looking at? Sanjeev hasn't done anything. He's been hanging out all day. Come on, he can make him work out.
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. The bid for the building is out now, and the playground is being designed. So as soon as the bid comes back, the building will start immediately. And after 3 months, the playground will start. And by next June, July, we'll have both projects complete.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Freeholder. Any additional questions or comments, Freeholders? Have a mover and a second.
Happy to move it.
Moved by Freeholder Palmaris, second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Very good. Moving to resolution number 28.
Resolution 28, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs, contract extension with USC Direct to provide maintenance and support for the point-of-sale system, November 13, 2018 through January 12, 2019, amount not to exceed $19,833.34.
Mr. President, Mr. Zates is here to explain the 2-month extension.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. If the board will recall, probably about approximately 2 months or so ago, they approved an extension, a 2-month extension for this for our POS system, which handles the entire park system, including the zoo, the arena, the golf courses, and whatever else may fall under that. That extension is due to expire November 12th. The Parks Department is currently in the process of evaluating for a new POS system, so we're requesting that a additional 2-month extension be approved, which would take us to January 12th, and we're optimistic that that'll be enough time to get a new POS system in place before that expires.
Good. Mr. Perodecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
What's the difference? Is there going to be a difference between this point-of-sale system and the new one?
Through you, Mr. President, yeah, we're going to take, currently it's the entire park system, including the golf course. What we'd like to do is have the golf course as a separate entity and then the park system as a separate entity from that.
Okay, thank you.
Freeholders? Motion? Moved by Freeholder Johnson,
Second.
Go ahead.
second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions now 29 through 34, which are on the Department of Public Works. We'll start with resolution number 29.
Resolution 29, Department of Public Works payment authorization for 3 emergency contracts for major roadway and infrastructure repairs due to rainstorm on August 11th, 2018. Aggregate amount $251,773.84.
Very good.
Mr. President, Mr. Director of Public Works, Mr. Varghese is here to explain.
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. Earlier this year, on August 11th, we had a major storm event. It was approximately 5 to 6 inches of rain in 1 hour, and we had major damages to our roads, drainage facilities, bridges, and we declared an emergency to get it repaired right away. The board was notified. We engaged 3 contractors, Colonelli, Smith Sande, and Sparvik, and they finished their work completed, and there were like 40 plus locations which we had to go back and repair. We declared an emergency for up to approximately $300,000, and we spent less than that. We spent around $251,000, and this request is to approve those bills so that we can pay the vendors.
Very good. Mr. Perodecchio?
No questions on this.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Do I have a motion? Moved by Freeholder Jones.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 30.
Resolution 30, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, contract award to Computer Service Center, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder to provide computer network system maintenance and software support, 2-year agreement, amount not to exceed $110,000.
Again, Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. This is an on-call service the Department of Public Works use. This is a not-to-exceed contract, as-needed basis. Even though the amount is $110,000, it's for 2 years, and we spend less than $25,000 a year. And this is as-needed on-call service for the Department of Public Works.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Do you have a mover?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer,
Second, Mr. President.
second by Freeholder Palmaris. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 32. I'm sorry, 31. Excuse me.
Resolution 31, Department of Public Works, Division of Fleet Management, contract award to the 3 lowest and responsible bidders per region and category for collision repair services for the Essex County Fleet Vehicles, 2-year agreement, amount not to exceed $205,000.
Okay. Culture.
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. Again, this is for our fleet, Division of Fleet Management. This is, again, as needed basis, not to exceed contract. We have 3 vendors. 1 is for the east side and 2 is for the west side. This is for all the vehicles in the county fleet. And again, this is as needed. If any collision repairs which we cannot do in-house, we send it out to get it repaired. Last year we spent on the east side less than $50,000, on the west side probably $35,000. Even though the maximum is more than that, we don't spend anywhere near that. This is just in case we need those repairs.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Excuse me, Ms. Parlavecchio?
Just a question, how do you select from the 3 of these? I understand east and west, but you have 2 in the east. Is there a method of how you select which one?
They are the lowest on those sections.
For a particular repair type?
Through you, Mr. President, we created 3 different categories, one for standard automobiles, another one for light trucks, and the third one would be for heavy-duty equipment. The other thing that is here, DeFalco Instant Towing has 52 employees, 9 are from Essex, and they are a WBE. Renix in orange complete the aspirational goal. They have 20 employees and 16 are Essex County residents.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Freeholders? Have a mover?
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson,
Second.
second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Moving to resolution number 32.
Resolution 32, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, contract award to Colonelli Brothers, the lowest responsible and responsible bidder, to provide miscellaneous drainage improvements in various county locations, 12-month contract not to exceed $580,532.
Mr. President, Sanjeev Varghese is here, also the project manager from Culinary. They also use Local 472 and 825 for employees. Mr. Varghese.
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. This is the routine maintenance we do for our manholes, the catch basins and drainage, the culverts. Again, this is a routine maintenance. During the snow, we plow the roads, and when we come back, it's like catch basin is sunk, manhole is cracked, and this is what we do on a regular basis. We worked with them before. We have somebody from them here in case you have any questions. They are a local union shop, and they use personnel from the local union.
My name is Nino Colonelli from Colonelli Brothers Inc.
Can you tell us a little bit about the contract?
Yeah, sure. Day-to-day, we do various repair work on our county roads based off how the DPW directs us. We go job to job every day and make sure that your roads are kept safe. We do various things between drainage, pipes, culverts, anything roadside. any various upkeep of the system.
Very good. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
McInerney?
On the history on the decision memorandum, it indicates that this vendor had the previous contract as well, correct?
Yes.
It did. That contract was for $337,967. This one's for $580,532. On the previous contract of $337,000, the only amount used was $27,310. What's the disparity there? Why is there so much disparity, and why is it up to $580,000 now?
In Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer, this is a unit price item. Every item is a unit price. The last contract was much lesser unit quantities than what we have now, because that ran out of in the middle of the contract. We have almost exhausted that contract, and we need a new contract which will take more than 8 months into the contract.
What, Mr. President,
McInerney?
what you're saying is of the 337, but of the 337, you did only spend 27,000.
No, we spend almost most of the money.
All right. Okay. So it says here the current amount used.
It's
Okay.
probably bills are not probably paid, but we have the invoices and most of the money is spent.
All right. So that contract for 337 will be used.
It's almost used now. It's probably $20,000 left.
Okay. It's odd that it would say here that the current amount used for this contract is 27,000.
They usually take that to the system, but there are bills pending on the queue, so that's not shown there.
And when is this contract up, the 337?
We have approximately $20,000 left in the existing contract. As soon as that is finished, we start with this. And especially during the winter, we'll have a lot of catch basins which usually gets collapsed after the snows.
Okay. And what's the term of the contract? What's the dates? I'm sorry.
It's like upon completion, but usually it depends on the damages. And it usually gets exhausted much before that.
No, but it's 12 months.
It's 12 months.
Okay. All right.
Mr. President, through you, we can give you, if this is an incorrect error of $27,000 being spent last year, we'll be glad to notify Mr. McInerney on the correct amount.
Yep.
Thanks.
Mr. McInerney? Okay.
Me too.
Freeholders? Additional questions or comments? Mover in a second.
Move it, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Primaris,
Second.
second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo, absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So voted.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 33.
Resolution 33, Department of Public Works, Division of Building and Grounds Contract Award to Hand Lift Service Company, the sole responsive and responsible bidder for the maintenance and service of handicap lifts at various county facilities for 2019 and 2020, amount not to exceed $33,407.97.
Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer. Again, we have approximately 9 handy lifts, platform lifts, and stair lifts throughout the complex here. The Veterans Courthouse, the Hall of Record, the Historic Courthouse, the Wellens Building, and these handy lifts are there to comply with the ADA requirements, and that require regular maintenance. And there are quarterly maintenance, monthly maintenance, to make sure that these are safe for the public to use. And this is the lowest bid, and we have to keep maintaining these handy lifts.
Very good. Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Mover?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer,
Second.
second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebo, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 34, which is an insertion of revenue. We can read it into a record at a later time. Mr. Coltree.
Mr. Vargas is here to explain the insertion.
There were CDBG funds available for grant for a field, and the Public Works Department went and applied for a CDBG grant, and they approved a grant for $750,000 for Roberto Clemente field, which is item 35, which is the approval of the contract. This is a 100% grant. CDBG is giving us, and we have to just comply with the grant conditions.
Very good. Mr. Paravecchio?
No questions.
Freeholders?
Mr. President, this 750,000 was one of the agency grants that we saw in the CDBG award, previously.
Correct, Mr. McInerney.
So we just approved that.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. McInerney. Thank you for putting that on the record. Freeholders?
Through you, Mr. President?
Yes.
When's the projected time to initiate this project?
Again, that's the next contract for approval. We have the vendor here, but we expect this to be done in a couple of months.
And this is just a field?
Remove the turf and replace the turf, fix the drainage, fix the fence around it.
And the water fountains there, is that part of this project? Because the water fountains don't work in that.
That we can fix separately, but again, that's not part of this.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Additional questions or comments, freeholders? Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Mercado.
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 35.
Resolution 35, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, contract award to Applaud Landscape Technologies, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for Roberto Clemente baseball field improvements, 120-day contract, amount not to exceed $674,000.
In Sanjeev Varghese, County Engineer.
Thank you.
Again, we had the grant for $750,000 and we went out for bid. The bid came back $670,000. That's all we are spending. The rest of the grant money will go back to CDBG. Applied Landscaping is the lowest bidder. They are a union shop. We have worked with them in the past. They are a certified turf installer. We have Phil Pura from Applied Landscape here if you have any questions.
Phil Piro, Vice President, Applied Landscape Technologies.
Can you tell us a little about the contract in your company, please?
Excuse me?
Can you tell us a little bit about the contract in your company?
Yeah, the contract we're doing is removing turf that's already there, that's gone its life, and we're going to replace it. We're also doing some other field improvements with that. It's a very quick contract. It's mostly material, not really labor intensive, and we can do it pretty quickly. Our company is the largest synthetic turf company in New Jersey. We do 5 million square feet a year all over the country. This is pretty much what we do.
Very good. Mr. Paravecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholders? Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Do you, Mr. President? So, Sanjay said you're a union outfit?
Yes, we have union agreements with the laborers and the operating engineers.
Labor's 472?
Yes.
Okay. And where's your company located?
Montville, New Jersey.
And you do have Essex County residents?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, freeholders, do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Moved by Vice President Richardson, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel, absent Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions 36 through 77. 37. I'd like to take those, lead them into record at a later time, take those as a group. Do I have a mover and a second for 36 through 77?
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Sebo, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 78, which is a resolution sponsored by Freeholder Bauer. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 78, resolution in support of Green Amendment to the New Jersey State Constitution, sponsored by Freeholder Bauer.
Freeholder Bauer.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is a project that I'm working on, and there are only 2 states in the nation that have an amendment or an original provision in the Bill of Rights guaranteeing citizens of that state the right to clean water, clean air, and a healthy environment. And they are Pennsylvania and one of the states out west, I think it's Idaho or Montana. And most of the other states have some kind of provision in their state constitution guaranteeing some form of environmental protection. New Jersey does not have any, which I find to be very strange considering that we have been known since the 1970s as a leader in environmental matters, but frankly we've lost until very recently the luster that came with that and the progress that came with that. And so a number of us got together, and by us I mean a lot of environmental lawyers, but a lot of other experts too in various fields. And we have sponsored a piece of legislation in both the Senate and the Assembly. And if that's passed by the people, because the process for passing an amendment to the Constitution is a ballot referendum, and I'm sure you're all familiar with everything from gas taxes to you name it. That's what happens with state constitutions. It's unlike the federal Constitution, which is relatively static. I mean, there haven't been amendments to the federal Constitution very often, but in the state Constitution, it's more like a piece of legislation, so it's amended very frequently. The idea is to put a green amendment in the Bill of Rights so that people actually have a right to a clean environment. And in a number of whereas clauses, I go through what some of the problems are that remain, even notwithstanding the progressive legislation that the legislature has passed. And one of the reasons that I'm so interested in this is because when I first got out of college and out of law school, and I saw these ideas being put into legislation, I was very attracted to the idea, and that's one reason I became an environmental lawyer. And what has happened over time is that the very good intentions, mostly of some very really great legislators that we've had, Brendan Byrne, Frank Lautenberg, Ray Lesniak, I can think of a lot of people, my Assemblyman John McKeon, have really been cut back by Superior Court when cases are brought under these laws, because it's impossible to think of everything, so everything looks like a loophole when you're presented with the right case and the right set of fact circumstances. So anyway, this would put a bit of a thumb on the scale when you get into situations like that, and it would actually create a right to a clean environment. And that, of course, can mean many things to many people, but the right to free speech can mean many things to many people. The right to exercise your religion as you wish can mean many things to many people. I'm sure the founders of the Constitution did not think of the ways that we would honor those rights now, back in the 1700s or 1800s. So the lack of specificity, I think, is actually a good thing and appropriate to a constitutional document. And I would ask for your support of this. I testified before the Senate Committee on the Environment on October 15th, and by the way, this is a bipartisan Senate concurrent resolution sponsored by Senator Bateman, who's a Republican from Somerset County, and Linda Greenstein, who's a Democrat from Plainsboro in Middlesex County. And it was passed 4-0-1, and I think it was Senator, I forget who the senator was who abstained, but he was not actually opposed to it. He just said that he wanted to think about it more and look into it more. So I was very pleased about that. I don't know what the path is for it, but it's to be voted on, if it does pass, each house of the legislature by the people. So ultimately, the people would be the decision maker as to whether this goes forward or not, if given the opportunity by the legislature. So those of us who support this idea are going to be going around to counties and municipalities asking for them to pass a resolution, and I was asked to draft a resolution, so I thought I would draft a resolution and ask you all to support it.
Thank you, Freeholder Bauer. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Vice President Richardson.
You can certainly add my name to it. Yes. I'm certainly in support of it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we do it by acclamation?
Acclamation.
That's at the pleasure of the sponsor of the resolution.
I'm having a good night. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Be pleased.
Absolutely wholeheartedly support it. Thought it was well done, and agree with all. So, Freeholder Bauer, would you like to move?
I would.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Absolutely.
Freeholder Jones.
Second.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent. Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel absent. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Well done. All right.
Good job.
Moving to resolution number 79, which is a resolution sponsored by acclamation, congratulating Freeholder Bauer for her service to the County of Essex as a member of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders.
Would you like me to get into that?
Sure, please. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. Absolutely.
Resolution 79, Commendation, honoring the Honorable Janine G. Bauer for her service to the County of Essex as a member of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, sponsored by acclamation.
That's right.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Freeholders.
Everybody wants to keep doing that.
I think everyone's.
Why don't we just go around the room?
Yeah. We'll start with Freeholder Johnson.
Well, first and foremost, Janine, it's been a pleasure to sit next to you and to hear some of the thoughts and some of the things that you think about. And this last piece of legislation that you're doing, this resolution here, I mean, with some of the issues we have going on in the city of Newark right now with our waters and things of this nature, if this is not timely, I don't know what else is. I think that this should be brought down also to the city of Newark, to the city council, for them to get on board with this also. But we're going to miss you. I'm going to miss you being my neighbor. But you're still my neighbor because you're in South Orange and I'm right there in Vailsburg. So we'll always be neighbors. And I always will be in contact with you. It was a pleasure having you sit next to me during this period of time.
Thank you.
And I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Okay.
Freeholder Jones.
It was a great opportunity for me. I have learned in such a short time. I have learned quite a bit. And I've been very impressed with your dignity, your capability, your smartness, leadership, just whatever you said, I listened. And I hope one day, although you won't be here, that I can follow into your footsteps. You will surely be missed, and I wish you the best of luck, and you will surely be missed here on this Freeholder board.
Thank you for your
Thank you. Freeholder Mercado.
Freeholder Janine, it's been a pleasure to sit across from you in the short period of time. And although it's short, your impact is long-lasting, and we all applaud your effort and your leadership, especially as it comes to the environment. I've learned from you just sitting across, and anything we can do on this end to support you moving forward, we're here for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Freeholder Palmares.
Oh, Janine, I knew we hit it off the day you and I started questioning a vendor about water quality. I thought maybe I might be the only one asking those questions, and you chime right in, and you certainly know more about it than I do. And what a pleasure it is to sit across from you, to have someone who feels that kind of passion, who laughs at my jokes when they're bad, and that's pretty often. Someone who we can speak to about greenways and green efforts and historic preservation and sharing garden pictures, right? Because at the end of the day, we share a lot of the same passions, and they're very much parallel each other. So I'm not going to say goodbye, because I know, given our interest and our friendship, we're going to see each other quite a bit, especially on social media. But I will miss seeing you directly across from me, because when I needed to roll my eyes, you were the one I looked to to do it, to see if you were on the same page. But in all seriousness, you've been a terrific colleague here, and I'm a better man for knowing you. Thank you.
Vice President Richardson.
Yes, it has, everyone has said it has been an honor and a privilege to know you for this short period of time, to listen to you, and, how quickly you grasp what's going on, what's being said, and you're able to articulate it and put a lot of things to writing. So you've been inspiration and a really great help to me. And I'm sorry you're leaving. It's certainly going to be a loss to this board with your legal mind, and I'll go to battle with you anytime. I love the way you negotiate. It's just been a pleasure. But I will be tapping in to your mind and talking to you, and, your love of nature, and you see my pictures on Facebook and Weekway Park, and you actually started going to Weekway Park. I mean, I'm just awe-inspired by you and your activism. You're very active. People don't know you're all over the place, which is great. And it certainly will be a loss to this board. Now, I hate to see you go, but I will be in touch.
Thank you, Freeholder Vice President.
Thank you.
I didn't read to the end of the agenda. This is all a surprise to me.
Mr. President, if we may, before you start. Yes, go ahead. On behalf of the administration, on behalf of the administration, Freeholder, I too want to express our admiration for you. It's been a pleasure working with you. As the Freeholders have said earlier, you're a quick study. You have such a sharp mind, and you've brought so much to this county in a very, very short period of time. We will miss working with you and wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Same here, Freeholder Bauer. I know you're a hard worker. I've seen you work out of this chamber, but I've also seen you work very hard in this chamber, and you do a very wonderful job. And it's been a pleasure meeting you. And I know on our other hats that we wear, we'll work together in the field, doing the right thing. Thank you.
Looking forward to that.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
Freeholder Bauer, I always welcome as many lawyers as possible into this room. So you'll always get a cheer from me. But you've been a great assistant in advocating your own work, which is a lot of fun. and it's fun going back and forth, and it's a little dry for most people, but it's been enjoyable really going back and forth on this ordinance most recently, and even other things, and just talking to you and picking your brain, and you'll be greatly missed here.
Mr. McInerney?
Yes, it's been a pleasure working for you, and I've witnessed the articulation you have in the positions that you take. You seem to be, very focused on certain items that you hold dear to yourself. And again, it's just been a pleasure to get to know you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, may I?
Madam Clerk, of course.
I have the honor of supporting the entire Freeholder Board, and so I had the opportunity to enjoy supporting you in your short stay. But I am prejudiced. She is from South Orange, and she makes South Orange proud. And wearing my other hat, I will also support a resolution coming from South Orange in support of your resolution number 78. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Oh, and that was on behalf of the whole staff that's here that stayed late.
Any of the staff would like to speak?
That was so kind of you. You got to wait till you're ready.
I was elected by the staff to speak on our behalf. We do wish you all the best, Freeholder Bauer. It's been wonderful working with you and for you. I do have a personal story. I had the opportunity when I was in graduate school to do a report on transportation, and the clerk put me in touch with you, Freeholder Bauer, and you were with the council or the trustees in South Orange. And at that time we met, you were so gracious, you were able to share with me and give me your expertise, and I actually got an A on that assignment, thank you very much. And who would know that we would come full circle and meet once again here at Essex County. So again, I thank you for that opportunity. I always remember that, and I speak for the rest of the staff that we have definitely enjoyed working with you for this short period of time, and we wish you all the best and Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here.
Hi, Janine.
Squeeze the.
Oh, sorry, I'm short. That's
Squeeze
my
the
mother's
handle.
fault.
Up at top.
I know, right? I know who to blame. Hi, Janine. I just wanted to say that working as your freeholder aide the past several months has been an immense honor. It's been very exciting to see you in action, see a different side of you after knowing all of your expertise from the South Orange Democratic Committee. And being partial, I was very excited to see South Orange represented at the county level. So thank you for all of that. And I would also like to say that based on your environmental work and expertise and your knowledge on street safety and street calming measures, I used that on my Intro to Environmental final, and I did get an A, so I am the second person whose GPA you've raised. So I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the A.
And your name and position for the record?
Oh, I'm Rachel Ford, and I am the aide to the Honorable Freeholder Janine Bauer, District 3, represent.
So one thing I can say, Freeholder, is that they had put me in touch with you. I'm not sure there's much you could have done for my GPA. So I'm glad to hear those great stories. But if actually you would come and join me here in the well, just wanted to say on behalf of the entire board, really to echo everything that's been said. You're for those who've gotten to know you, I've known you and of you as a leader in the area of the environment transportation, infrastructure, a skilled leader, a skilled lawyer, and a community leader, for sure. And, which I think you've proven to all of us is that your length of time on this board does not equal what your impact necessarily will be, because you have made a tremendous impact in a short amount of time. And both of the resolutions, both the ordinance and the resolution, and we're going to see that ordinance all the way through, and the resolution, which was one of many that was smart, thoughtful, and is going to make an impact, I think is indicative of that. So I think it's very appropriate that that we're going to give you tonight on behalf of the Freeholder Board. The Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders hereby honors Janine G. Bauer, Freeholder District 3, for her thoughtful and compassionate contributions of distinguished service to the residents of Essex County. Don't be alarmed that the time is wrong on this clock. It is Essex County. But again, I did think the clock was quite appropriate in the sense that your time here has been well spent. And I also know that just because you're no longer on the board does not mean you will still not impact what we do here each and every day. So it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to continuing to be able to work with you. All the best on behalf of all your colleagues. So well done.
Here's the mic.
First of all, thank you so much. It's really unbelievable. I feel like you only get the gold clock when you're 25 years in or something like that. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Everybody's saying thank you to me, but this was a tremendous honor and a tremendous opportunity. You know who I thank for all of that, but I tried to make the best use of my time, so it seems like I succeeded in that regard based on your remarks. And I just want to say from Deborah Davis Ford and every member of the staff, you have been absolutely terrific to work for. Every member of the Freeholder Board, I've really never had an experience before where everyone was so thoughtful, committed, enjoyable, intelligent, passionate about everything that you do. I mean, you paid me some compliments tonight, but really you all exceed me in all those remarks tremendously. The administration, I am a huge admirer of the administration. I don't think that has anything to do with why I got the job temporarily, but I think the world of this county and how it's run, and I just am blown away really almost every day with what a great team this really is. So I was super happy to be a part of it, and yeah, I'll see you around.
I guess we'll do it after.
We'll do photos right after.
We'll do photos. With that, do I have mover and a second for moved by Vice President Richardson, second by Freeholder Mercado. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel, absent. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Reports of board committees, legislative reports, written communication, unfinished business, new business, public comment. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any matter, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, freeholders, President.
Good evening.
I haven't been around lately, but I come up here today. I'm glad to come up here. It seems like that things is moving pretty smoothly. But I also wanted to say that things aren't moving very smoothly with me, but it all stems from here, that I was looking forward to getting help and thinking that things were going to go smoothly, but it seems like that it has tightened up again with me to where I'm in the same position that I was in when I was here before, looking for a place, and I never got the place that I signed up for, being homeless and doing what I wanted to do for the kids. In the South, I was in the South Ward. I was a district leader down there, and I couldn't get the help that I needed for the people, and I feel that I come up here to Essex County, and seemed like that I was getting the help from Brittany Timberlake, and I appreciated all the help that she did for me in trying to help me get straight. But during the time that I was waiting to get the help in the place that I was supposed to be moved into, it just kept going past the time that I was supposed to move in, and I never did get any notice or anything. And I found a place in Newark where I'm at in Grove Street, which I always wanted to be in Newark because that's where everything is going to stem from. The children that I'm wanted to work with is in Westside High School and Speedwell. I have a program that I know I can put the kids back on track and get them out of drugs and jobs and things like that. And I got the place, and it seemed like I ain't worked fast enough for the man. I'm being dispossessed again. I've been put out of my place, and I'm homeless again, and I'm just hope that maybe that something can be done.
30 seconds.
I will be looking for some help from the staff, and I also, Debbie, I had called you, and I hope that you would return the call so I could maybe explain some things, so I could get some help. But I appreciate it anyway, and I think you're doing a good job. Thank you.
Okay. We will be sure to follow up. We will be sure to follow up. Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there's no one wishing to speak at this time. Freeholders, do you have any comments that you would like to make?
Mr. President?
Freeholder Palmaris.
In the spirit of my colleague across from me who never wastes an opportunity to push something that's important, earlier this evening I just wanted to reference on agenda items number 24 and 26, we passed some funding for the arts and historical programming. Specifically in 24, we approved $118,595 for regranting purposes. When you consider that 40 organizations applying, and as our recreation department does an excellent job of doing their best to spread that around, that comes out to be about $2,850 per organization, which is, from my experience as a nonprofit and someone who raises funds and writes grants and things of that in my world, specifically for arts and historical stuff, is a relatively small amount of money. To get a grant for $2,800, you probably spend a good amount of staff time doing it. And I'm sure that our application process is actually fairly streamlined because I've seen it from personal experience in the past. With respect to number 26, you have $23,180 for historical programming, which, when divided among 15 townships, winds up being an award of $1,345, which is hardly an honorarium for, let's say, quarterly talks with the Historical Society and such. Conversely, if you go to item number 31, today we passed a $205,000 resolution for fleet vehicles collision. And as was indicated by the speaker, we on average use about 90,000, but we did have a contingency 205,000. And I don't have a disagreement with having money in contingency because in any given year, maybe we have extra damage for whatever reason, hailstorm or something that causes kind of a freak thing. But I would like to implore this board to consider, with the budget coming up next year, to consider trying to award a little bit more with respect to the arts and funding on a federal level. When years were good, less than 2% of the federal budget was contributed to all of the arts, performing, visual, et cetera, et cetera. It's a relatively small amount of money for a relatively wealthy country. European counterparts do about 15% of their budget from the national government standpoint, and this amount of money is critically important, and it's relatively small. And if maybe we were to perhaps reevaluate some of the contingency money that we had, maybe we could up that budget a little bit. And I'm not saying triple it or quadruple it, but if we take some of that contingency money for collision repair, which we know we're not going to use, we could double the historical funding, for example, and we won't miss a beat. And that's something that I would like to ask our administration and our board here to consider for the budget of 2019, because I know if we increase the money, there won't be a shortage of people taking it to do wonderful things. I can tell you in Bloomfield alone, part of our renaissance has been the introduction of public art murals, which I think you've all seen, especially if you're connected to me on social media. We have beautiful murals. Right now, the Township of Bloomfield is considering a gateway entrance off of exit 148, which is a pretty ugly sight when you come off of it because it's sort of industrial. And as part of the solution, we're looking at the arts. And I guarantee you that every town here has some underpass, overpass, some bridgeway, some ugly blank wall that would be a wonderful canvas for something artistic, some kind of artistic expression. We're considering a small parklet right now for just arts and sculpture. And with a little bit more seed money, I think we can make a significant difference and maybe incorporate the arts into the fabric just a little bit more. So I thank you all for listening, for your consideration, and I hope we can expand that dialogue moving forward.
Thank you, Freeholder Primaris. I look forward to our budget hearings that are, believe it or not right around the corner, in more ways than one. So, I think this is for discussion, as we move into that, and fully support that effort. So
thank you, sir.
Let's follow up for sure. Additional Freeholder comments. Vice President Richardson.
I just want to piggyback on what Freeholder Primaris was talking about. If you look around Newark, you'll see murals on those walls that used to be blank, and there's some beautiful artwork that's going on. And I agree with you. Art education is very important. My mother-in-law was an art teacher, and she is a world-renowned artist, so she has works all over the world. And so art is very important in my house. What number, if you had to put a number on each one of those nonprofits getting, what do you think would be an amount that would be really helpful to them?
Through you, Mr. President.
Yes, Freeholder Primaris.
I think it'd be a little bit challenging, but I think if we were to sit down with the Recreation Department and try to dissect what are we trying to do? Are we trying to incorporate visual arts in the case of what I mentioned earlier, or some performing arts? I think it would vary a bit. I think we'd have to, and it would warrant, and I would be more than happy to volunteer on any kind of breakout committee that we'd want to design to look at those segments, because I think one of the problems is there's not a one-size-fits-all solution to that, because as someone who runs an arts organization, I wear many hats when I'm not freeholding, as you can tell. I run, for example, the Cuban Artist Fund, and we support artists with grants in the same capacity. This is why I'm so intimately involved with it. And then as councilman, I try to work with the town as a councilman to get the very grant that we talked about earlier with our recreation department, which is now transitioned and extended into cultural affairs. So I think if we did something of an exploratory committee, for example, to kind of just highlight what are the different kinds of programs that are out there that we can bolster. I would say with the historical one, if we easily double that, you're talking about an award that's still relatively small, but would be probably more than the 15 organizations that are going to be applying for, which are small historical societies, which are already volunteer operating 95% of the time. So I would look at the history segment, and I would say just simply doubling that would enable it to expand. And I don't see it as a one-shot-fits-all, but maybe layering it over a 2 to 3 year plan would be a more appropriate way and a more palatable way to be able to introduce that. And again, I don't think we have to expand the budget, but I think there may be ways where we can kind of shift a little bit of funding in a way that we have a little bit on reserve for that. But I would be, and I think one of the things that would hit the community closest would be community art projects such as murals, such as those ugly underpasses where the parkway goes through, or any kind of bridge of that nature. And I think that would be a good first start. And then, maybe we can call in some of our organizations to kind of give us a sense of that. One reason why organizations don't ask for funding is because it's not worth the $2,000 to spend $3,000 of staff time to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Freeholder Johnson.
I have a suggestion. Since that is the Parkway Authority and things of that nature, I think there should be a way we should be trying to even get them to help in the funding of it if you're going to improve and highlight their property.
I would agree with you, and I would include New Jersey Transit to that, too.
New Jersey Transit, too.
Because in our area, one of their downtown areas that could use some beautification are where the trains go over, and they're elevated, and those tunnels are ripe for a canvas. They're ugly as is, but they'd be a beautiful canvas for it. And it would do nothing detrimental to the community, to the facility, to the infrastructure. In fact, I think it would only enhance it. And I think, frankly, if there's one thing graffiti artists do is they respect everyone else's art. I haven't seen often any public art graffitied, if you will. I only see canvases of blank stuff where graffiti exists.
Well, if there's any help that I can give in it, I'm more than
Thank you.
Agreed. Freeholder Bauer.
I just want to thank my assistant, Rachel Ford, who I should have called out amongst all the staff, including Deborah Davis Ford, but the entire staff. But I want to thank you, Rachel, for putting up with me. I know it's very difficult to do sometimes. Thank you.
Good, thank you. No, I think it's Freeholder Primaris said let's continue to follow up on that. New Jersey Transit might have a few other issues right now before they can get to murals, but
they want some friends.
So, I just wanted to also just thank the board. And also Mayor Jackson. He was there. I had the honor of being recognized as a recipient of the Hiram Rhodes Revels Legislative Award from the Montclair branch of the NAACP. And the board members did took an ad in the Journal, which I'm deeply very thankful for doing that. And it was a lovely evening. And Mayor, thank you for being there as well, with me that night. Any additional questions or comments? Motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor Jackson. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. President. I apologize, I missed the Veterans Observance earlier, but I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that there is a national movement on Sunday, Bells for Peace, which is honoring or recognizing the 100th anniversary of the start of Armistice Day. And you'll be able to go online or also on your phone and download an app which will ring at 11 o'clock on the 11th. So the idea is around the country at that hour, all of us will have phones wherever you might be of special observances, and everybody will be ringing at the same time at local time. Wow. So we're going to be doing that at our observance in Montclair for that on Sunday. But I think it's a great way of recognizing the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I and Armistice Day. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
Thank you. Absolutely. Freeholders, just motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Second.
So moved.